Alright, Ruby Sundays, week 1 recap of the Fantasy Football Week, part 2. We're going to pick up again with the recaps of the games. We're going to stay in the West region, and we're looking at the game between Aliens and Trainwrecks. And now, Aliens was projected, if you remember, to have the highest scoring team in the entire league. And as you all can see, projections mean absolutely nothing, because he had the lowest scoring team this week. Aliens did. Trainwrecks had projected one of the worst teams, put up 134.6 points. Just absolutely. I mean, this again was just another blowout. I mean, outside of the game of the week between Lakaka and Texas Sledgehammers, all the games were essentially blowouts. Let's see. Trainwrecks in terms of what allowed them to pull out the victory. Tom Brady, is back. He was playing like Tom Brady. He was kind of off the first half, really turned on towards the end. Essentially, the Buffalo Bills kind of gave them the game, but he definitely had the opportunity to pad his stats, passing for 378 yards and 2 touchdowns. Starting guys like Julius Jones and Devery Henderson would normally make people laugh, but honestly, who's laughing when Julius Jones runs for 117 yards and a touchdown, puts up 21.6 points. Devery Henderson puts up 20.3 points after 103 yards receiving and a touchdown. Also, we had guys like Tony Gonzalez coming through with 15.3 points. Joseph Adai with 13.7. Terrell Owens only 4.6. But guys like Wes Welker 11.3. And this is something that's important to look at when you look at a team like Trainwrecks. I mean, he got 134 points, but there was only 9 points from his kicker and only 9 points from the Ravens defense. That should put some teams on notice, because he was able to do this without a whole lot of output from his defense and from his kicker. He gets 15, maybe 20 points. We're talking about a 150-point game here. So Trainwrecks definitely has some explosiveness that you got to look out for as the season progresses. In terms of Aliens, he really just had a team of guys that just underachieved. Phillip Rivers had a tough game last night. Really couldn't get things going, but the Chargers ended up pulling out the win. He has a solid running back, solid running backs of Clinton Portis and Michael Turner, but neither one of them had very many yards. Michael Turner had 65 yards, Clinton Portis only 62. Guys like Lee Evans really didn't show up. Vincent Jackson looks like he has some potential, had a touchdown, but again, Vincent Jackson was the second highest scorer, and his first highest score only had 14.5 points. So you're not going to be really successful there. But again, I think it was just a bad week. His optimum was 107.75. He had Joe Flacco on the bench with 30.15 points. Might consider either starting him next week or maybe trading or whatever the case may be. But I do think that he still has the talent there. Guys like Michael Turner will be able to turn it around in future weeks. Next game that we want to talk about, we want to go all the way to the East region. First game in the East region we want to talk about is Big D versus Reapers. Another blowout. This one only by about, 36 points or so. Reapers came into it. Guys like Matt Ryan performed well, passed for over 200 yards, 2 touchdowns. Thomas Jones, a guy that some people were down on, put up 21.7 points. Steve Slayton, a guy that you would expect to get a lot of output from, only got him 3.2 points. Willie Parker only 2.4. But guys like Greg Jennings put up 22.6. He got 21 points from the Giants defense. Again, it was a balanced attack. Nobody necessarily went off. When you got guys like Greg Jennings going off for 22.6 and the Giants going for 21, you add all that stuff together and you get a pretty nice output of 122.65 points. Big D, came into it with what looked like a pretty powerful team in terms of Aaron Rodgers at quarterback, Steven Jackson, Kevin Smith, Fred Jackson, but it just turned out that it was just a tough week across the board. Aaron Rodgers had 17.9 points, and he obviously had a little bit of a tough time with the Bears defense, but kind of got it going towards the end. Obviously, Greg Jennings was able to offset the performance of Big D. Steven Jackson, the Rams haven't scored a point this season yet, so that's going to be a tough one for him. Kevin Smith put up 15.2 points. He only had 20 yards rushing, but he did have a lot of receptions and a lot of yards receiving, plus he had a touchdown. Fred Jackson, his highest point getter for the week. Fred Jackson actually put up 21 points. He had a solid week, about 140 total yards, a receiving touchdown. Anquan Bolden let him down, Eddie Royal let him down, but only got 1 point from his kicker. Again, I see potential in Big D's team, but that's not to say that he could possibly, have enough potential to come up and beat Reapers. But overall, a tough week for Big D, good week for Reapers. We'll see how the rest of the week, we'll see how the rest of the season plays out. And then finally, the last game in the East region, in the West region, is Thunder from Down Under versus Heavy Whales. This one was probably, I guess, the biggest blowout of the week. The only reason why it was the biggest blowout is because Thunder from Down Under put up 155.85 points. Heavy Whales put up 85.15, and against anybody else it wouldn't be as big of a blowout, but he just played the wrong dude at the wrong time. Thunder from Down Under, his optimum was 194.95. He put up 155.85. Guys like Tony Romo just went off, 39.85 points. Brian Westbrook 13.2, D'Angelo Williams 13.9. Just a balanced attack, but then the biggest variable for him that put him over the top was 42 points from the Eagles defense. Just absolutely obliterated Jake Delhomme and the Panthers offense. Now that's not to say that he's necessarily going to get 42 points out of them every single week, but the thing is you shave that 30 points off of that, he still put up 125 points. So that's definitely a team to look out for. Heavy Whales, he had guys like Peyton Manning, Marion Barber, Santonio Holmes, all had big weeks. The guys like Larry Johnson, Brandon Marshall, Lavernius Coles, all kind of let him down. Jason Witten normally would be a double-digit fantasy guy, only got him 9.1 points. The Cowboys defense only got him 2 points. So I think that team's got some potential. Guys like Larry Johnson, you hope for a little bit more output, but you just don't know as the season progresses. And more than likely, guys like Lavernius Coles will probably get replaced by some people on his bench. He had John Carlson on his bench. More than likely, John Carlson goes into a flex next week to replace a guy like Lavernius Coles. So, again, overall, a great intro week, a great fantasy football week 1. Be looking forward to seeing you all's comments, you all's ideas, waiver wire, see what's going on there. But overall, a good week. Get started with Ruby Sundays. We're looking forward to week 2. I personally am gonna, get my first victory. Looking forward to beating Real American Gangsters. But we'll see how everything plays out. You all be sure to set your rosters and get ready for another exciting week. Ruby Sunday.